All right, all right, all right. Welcome. This is 12 Gauge. Welcome back to my channel. This is your first time here. I hope that you find something that you enjoy, something that tickles your mindset, gives you a little bit to come back and ruminate with at a later time. Everything that's said here is strictly my opinion, and anything that's talked about is strictly alleged. Tonight, I want to talk about sex trafficking and the downfall of Hollywood. This is my podcast series, so it's a little different than the true crime stuff that I do. So let's begin with seeing what's out there in the world today. There's been a lot of bombshells dropped today, and one of the biggest ones has been about Sean Puffy Combs, aka Puff Daddy P Diddy. So let's hear what these videos have to say.
Telling ABC News that right now authorities are carrying out searches at properties associated with P. Diddy. This is all part of a federal investigation into human trafficking. They also say that this investigation has been ongoing now for several months. They add, our sources, that an arrest does not appear to be imminent at this time, but what you are looking at right now is live video of one of these searches being conducted. Now, this is a search that is happening at Sean Diddy Combs' Los Angeles home. This is in the Beverly Hills area, so you can see a tremendous amount of law enforcement present there all around that home. So this search just began here. There's also, as we understand, another search being conducted on the other side of the country in Miami, because we are hearing from Homeland Security that there are investigations going on using the assistance of HSI Los Angeles and HSI Miami, along with local law enforcement partners. We do understand that they will provide us with updates as possible, but this goes into multiple allegations against Sean Diddy Combs over the years. There's been several civil suits against him as well, including human trafficking, all of which he has denied as this has been ongoing. But again, clearly an escalation that we are seeing play out live right now in Los Angeles. I want to bring in our ABC News contributor and trial attorney, Brian Buckmeyer, who I know, Brian, you have been following this case for many months, and you bring it up to me all the time. And now I wouldn't call this the culmination. In fact, probably this is just the beginning, right? So what do you make of the fact that they've decided to carry out these two searches simultaneously and on other sides of the country here?
So, Kayla, you're right. I've been talking to this about this for too long. But what does it get you? What does a person need to have the ability to search a home? Probable cause. So what I'm doing is I'm looking backwards. How could a judge grant the ability to search these two homes, and why would you do it simultaneously? Probable cause being the belief, or at least having the quantity of information that a crime either did happen, is happening, or is going to happen. That's how law enforcement must have to prove to a judge or a court why they have the opportunity or the legal ability to search someone's home. Now, why would you do it in conjunction from one property and another at the same time? Law enforcement typically does this because they are worried that information or property or evidence may be hidden away or destroyed while you're searching one property. And so they're looking for something to corroborate the belief that they have that a crime did occur. And as you pointed out earlier, he's facing multiple allegations of sex trafficking. So perhaps that is the crime in which they're investigating. Perhaps that is what they're trying to seek more information from. But in order to search a home, you have to have probable cause. The only question is, probable cause of what?
Probable cause. And so, Brian, as you look at this and you watch this, and we'll shout if we see any more movement on these screens, but it is important to note, right, that this is all being run out of the Southern District of New York here. So there is a tremendous amount of coordination happening within law enforcement at the highest levels.
Absolutely. And the reason why I believe it's being coordinated out of the SDNY, or the Southern District of New York, which encompasses, for the most part, Manhattan, is a lot of the civil allegations stem from there, whether it be Cassie or the other 4 allegations or civil lawsuits that stemmed from it afterwards. And so what it appears to be, at least if you're thinking this is connected to the civil lawsuits, are that the SDNY is coordinating with the other agencies in Miami as well as Los Angeles to search the properties of Sean Combs to see if there's any evidence of that. Now, I can't think of anything off the top of my head what would be evidence of sex trafficking, predominantly something that might stick out as to something to corroborate what we've heard in these civil allegations. But if they find it, it could lead to further investigations. At this point, we're hearing that there's no potential arrest, but it doesn't mean there wouldn't be one in the future based on either more information collected or if they're finding whatever it is that they're hoping to find in these 2 locations.
And Brian, we do want to mention that we were initially told what we were showing our viewers here is a home in Los Angeles, California, near Beverly Hills. That is not the case. What you're seeing on your video on your screen is, in fact, Miami. And then they are also searching a home simultaneously in Los Angeles in the Beverly Hills area at the exact same time. And to Brian's point here, law enforcement does that often in an effort to make sure that these searches can be conducted without sort of tipping off anyone else that might be involved, which doesn't give anyone any time to do anything questionable with evidence. So you're getting a larger shot there. You can see now just how close that home is to the water as our affiliate helicopter is flying over this home again in Miami as it is being searched. I want to now bring in our ABC News contributor and former FBI agent, Brad Garrett. Brian Buckmeyer, don't go anywhere because I have several more questions for you as well. But Brad, as you're watching this, first of all, can you explain to us, Brad, what that vehicle is that we're seeing right there, that big white truck?
Well, I can't see, I don't have a screen up to see it, but if it looks like a cargo truck or looks like any sort of truck that you could put evidence into. So since we don't know kind of what they're looking for, I can give you a list of what I think they're looking for, is that you have to have a crime scene search vehicle to go in with the various things you need to do to search. So my guess is it's that, because my sense was they weren't going there to arrest anybody. This was to do a search. And so they took everyone probably from the evidence response teams of maybe the FBI and DHS to do this search.
Yeah, so a large vehicle to collect evidence. It does also look like it has some kind of satellite up in the air as well. We're also seeing local news in the area, and you're seeing law enforcement, Brad, sort of walking down a very long driveway to enter the home, and you're not seeing, it's not a chaotic scene at all. Definitely not. And you're right. Our sources are saying that an arrest at this point is not imminent.
Right. So, quickly, why were they able to go in there? To Brian's point, how did they convince a judge to go in there? You have to have a link directly to these 2 houses. In other words, do they have video of some of these acts that are being alleged in either location or both locations? Are there witnesses? People that have come forward? Of course, people have come forward. Can they put acts in these houses? Maybe they were there firsthand. Is there CCTV that could be seized? Does he actually have video that he collected while these acts were going on? It's not uncommon in these types of cases. So it's all about what happened in those houses that law enforcement convinced a judge that there may be elements of the crime inside these houses.
All right.
Okay, let's pause that for a minute. As they're saying, there must be probable cause for them to even enter that home. And we discussed that last night on a live about probable cause. So he just said there must be some evidence there that they don't want to be destroyed. They don't want anything to be taken out of the home that could lead to further connection to Mr. Combs. So they wanted to get in there quickly, and the reason that they came in battle gear is they didn't really understand what they were walking into. Like, were they walking into a home that was going to be a gunfight? Once the police arrived, that's why they came in the SWAT gear and everything else. And once they realized that it was not that kind of situation, then automatically the investigation and gathering evidence portion proceeded. So let's go ahead and continue on hearing what he has to say.
Thank you so much for that analysis. I also hope we can get some video up of the raid that's happening in Los Angeles as well, so that we can learn a little bit more. But in the meantime, you're seeing, again, more video of P. Diddy there. But again, we are talking right now about a simultaneous search of two of his properties, one happening in Miami, the other one happening in Los Angeles. And we just have some new reporting. We're told here by our ABC's Aaron Katursky that the women who have made public accusations against Diddy are welcoming Monday's law enforcement activity, we're told. In fact, there is a statement from one of their lawyers where they're saying we will always support law enforcement when it seeks to prosecute those who have violated the law. Hopefully, this is the beginning of a process that will hold Mr. Combs responsible for what they call his depraved conduct. And so I want to bring back in here Brian Buckmeyer. And Brian, it was the first thing we talked about, right? That this is not the culmination of this. This potentially could be the very beginning. So Brian, what do you make of, first of all, that the lawyers are jumping right out to talk about this immediately, not wasting any time to draw attention to it?
Well, this is beneficial not only for their clients, but also for their cases. If we look to the last alleged victim, Rodney Jones Jr., who came out with allegations that seem to be very similar to Cassie, as well as the other three women who brought allegations, sorry, he said that Sean Combs has cameras throughout his home that records a lot of these events. In his complaint, that being Jones Jr.'s, he had snapshots of video that he had taken himself. And so to Brad's point, I think part of this, if the SDNY and the federal government is looking into this from the lens of these civil allegations, is to see how much of it is true. And if any of this is true, could criminal charges be levied against Sean Combs? Now, some of these civil allegations came up because of a look-back window for civil allegations to be brought through New York's Adult Survivor Act. But some of these charges, like sex trafficking, have no statute of limitations, and they have severe penalties under the law. And so law enforcement be looking at this and saying, if these are true, and there are videos and there are cameras, or that these allegations can be corroborated through what we find in Sean Combs' home, then they will move to the next step, which would potentially be evidence collecting or arresting someone.
And Brian, if you can, just quickly, while we only have a few more moments here, help our audience understand how far back they're looking. I mean, some of these allegations stem some 30 years ago, right? And they, in some ways, coincide with the uprising of his career.
Yes, a lot of these allegations, just from the lawsuits, I think stem back from 93 or 94 and go all the way up into the production of his latest album in 2023 and 2024. And so we're talking about a long span of time, but even just outside of those lawsuits as well, there has always been these kind of whispers or rumors in the background as to Sean Combs' involvement to various activities. If you're talking about Cassie's allegation of him being part of Kid Cudi's vehicle being exploded, or other allegations of assault or shooting or sexual harassment from Rodney Jones Jr. and the other four alleged victims. This is a long investigation. I think this is only the beginning, because there's a lot to have to corroborate from the people who have come forward, and also a potential of people who we haven't seen come forward to see what evidence they have and to see whether or not it's true, rumor, or something in between.
All right, Brian Buckmeyer and Brad Garrett, thank you so much, both of you, for your expertise. I will be continuing to cover this story as it develops, because, again, as we came on the air, that had just happened, and as soon as we learn more, we will bring that to you live. Law enforcement sources are...
And as they said, you know, with the Epstein situation, it all started with civil suits. So the civil suits got the ball rolling as far as accusations against people. And sex trafficking against minors, I heard earlier, is not as hard to implicate somebody as it is for sex trafficking against adults. So they're gathering the evidence to see if there's anything there before they charge him with anything. So let's see what this other news outlet has to say. This is some serious stuff. I mean, it's really weird that the people that I grew up with listening to kind of looking up to a little bit, based on their success, based on their lyrics, things of that nature, that behind the scenes there was so much hideous stuff going on. I mean, the Nickelodeon stuff that's been brought out behind the scenes, how hideous that has been portrayed, the situation with Vince McMahon and all the horrible things that he did allegedly, and all the things that is coming out against a lot of these individuals. Bill Cosby, he was sent to prison, for his situation with his issues. Um, and it's hard to really put your mind around it because you listen to the music, you listen to the positiveness that these individuals portray themselves to be, and I am in no way saying that Mr. Combs is guilty, but there's been whispers and there's been comments. Cat Williams, 50 Cent. There's been a lot of people that have been secretly just throwing little pieces of information out there. And maybe the whispers have gotten a little louder and a little louder. And now they're really looking into this.
Stranger to controversy, especially as of late, having had several sexual assault allegations lodged against him in recent months. Late last year, Combs made headlines when performer Cassie Ventura filed a bombshell complaint against Combs, accusing him of some seriously heinous stuff. I'm including sex trafficking, rape, forcing her to take drugs, beating her, forcing to have sex with male prostitutes, as he recorded. The list goes on and on and on. And while that case actually settled out of court, there were several more individuals who came forward accusing Combs of similar acts. This includes 2 women who allege that Combs assaulted them in the early 90s, an unnamed Jane Doe who is alleging that Combs, along with his friends, raped her when she was 17 years old. And then you have a male recently filing a lawsuit claiming unwanted sexual harassment from Combs. But his team is fighting back, recently filing that this unnamed woman must reveal her identity before the case can proceed. The woman will remain anonymous until the judge rules on that motion. Now, Diddy and his legal team additionally continue to deny all other claims against him, but this is big. Joining me right now is Tracy Walder. She is a former FBI special agent, former CIA agent, News Nation national security contributor, and I'm also joined by Misty Maris, trial attorney and legal analyst who's been following the case. Great to have you both here. Tracy, this is huge, right?
Well, it's good to see you, Jesse. Yes, it is huge in that really this isn't the start of an investigation. This is, I don't want to say the end of the investigation because clearly he's innocent until proven guilty, but this is a point at which there is more than enough to now bring in the federal authorities. So really this group that came in to conduct this investigation is HSI. So they're part of the Department of Homeland Security, and they are the investigative arm. So they're investigating really transnational crime, transnational syndicates, as well as sex trafficking. And it's my guess that that is why they were involved in this.
Okay, so Misty, let me turn it to you. This was a warrant from the Southern District of New York. I want to pull up number 2 if we can. This is a source familiar with the situation told NBC that 3 women and 1 man have been interviewed in New York by federal authorities in connection to a probe involving sex trafficking, sexual assault, solicitation and distribution of illegal narcotics and firearms related to Combs, who's also known as Diddy, Puff Daddy, and P. Diddy. Now, I've read those prior lawsuits. A lot of that is very consistent. What are you taking away from what they're doing here?
Yeah, this is obviously looking into federal crimes. And this is an investigation that has definitely been put together meticulously, coordinated efforts in 2 different states coming out of the Southern District of New York. So this says that there's more, Jesse, than what we've read in civil complaints. That's not going to be enough for probable cause to go in, get a warrant, and conduct a raid. There's going to be those witness interviews, but my guess would be there's more than just that.
Tracy, I have to imagine this was not just they announced a raid or did a raid on a nice sunny day in both Miami and Los Angeles. The timing of this matters. Do you think it was they wanted to make sure? And by the way, we don't know if Combs is in custody or not, if he's not in the country or what. Why do you think they chose right now? What do you think they're looking for in the house right now?
So typically at the FBI, when we would do these simultaneous raids conducted at really exactly the same time, was because we don't want evidence destroyed. We don't want people being tipped off. And it's my opinion, again, I'm just hypothesizing. I don't know the details, but it's my opinion that's why this was conducted simultaneously at exactly the same time. Because 100% of the time, that's why we did that at the FBI. And so really, I think this is about evidence destruction. Of course, I want him in custody if there's a warrant out for his arrest. But I think the preservation of that evidence was issue number one for this group.
Misty, I got to believe the timing of this has to be related to those lawsuits out of all the time, because they were alleging conduct from years ago. So the fact that this is coming down now, I feel like the lawsuits, information that was gathered in there, and remember, there was, Misty, there was also information gathered, there were photographs in one of the prior lawsuits where Sean Combs is allegedly around underage girls. Tell me those lawsuits have some connection to this.
Well, I definitely think they could be a starting point for an investigation. They wouldn't be enough to move forward with this type of warrant. And I think Tracy's 100% right. Preservation of evidence is the key. But Jesse, one of those lawsuits, the most recent, which was brought by a male, alleged conduct in 2022 and 2023. That's very recent. There's time for that evidence to be collected and to serve as the basis for this warrant. And remember, in that lawsuit, a lot of photographs were referenced, videos, something that, if turned over to authorities, could absolutely lead to this result, a raid on multiple properties.
If we could put up number 3, this is actually a statement from Douglas Wigdor. This is the lawyer for Cassie Ventura, who I mentioned before, and the Jane Doe. In response to these search warrants, we will always support law enforcement when it seeks to prosecute those that have violated the law. Hopefully, this is the beginning of a process that will hold Mr. Combs responsible for his depraved conduct. You were surprised by that, considering they settled that lawsuit, Ventura?
Well, settling the lawsuit is one thing. That's civil. Whether or not there was criminal conduct is for the criminal side, the feds now to investigate and pursue. So I'm not surprised that the lawyer for the plaintiff would say, hey, if there's something out there, from a criminal perspective, go for it.
I'm also not surprised, because if you read between the lines of those statements after the settlement, it didn't seem like she was absolving Diddy of what she accused him of doing.
Thank you for watching. Go to News Nation.
Okay. That seems very, very damning, all the stuff that they just spoke about, the individual as early as 2023, that, you know, there was alleged videos, camera footage, things of that nature. You can't escape digital evidence. You know, it's one thing to say, well, this person did this and not really have any proof, but it sounds like they have plenty of proof, you know, and it's, like I said, it's very damning for this individual. And I believe this is just the beginning of a long process that's going to happen for Mr. Combs. You know, that's one thing that you've heard a lot of about Hollywood, is you've heard a lot of sex trafficking allegations. You've heard a lot of children being harmed while they've been moving up the ranks as far as getting their career started. There's been shows on Netflix called Surviving R. Kelly, Surviving P. Diddy. I was watching that one day, and it's very disturbing, all the things that are talked about in those docuseries whenever they start to talk about the events that happened to these individuals when their careers were just taking off. It's kind of like they were groomed by somebody else. And that usually happens when it comes to situations such as this. You know, you groom somebody and then you take advantage because they've gotten to the point where they owe you. And you have the power, the prestige, the ability to buy silence. And a lot of times who's going to believe you versus, you're a nobody versus this multi-millionaire who has all these hit records, all these hit shows, all these things that they've done good for their community, the image that they've collaborated about themselves. Who's going to really believe you? And that is part of the grooming process, is I'm going to groom you to make you believe that there's no way that somebody's going to believe you and what you accuse me of because look at who I am. And it's really sad that, and it goes all the way down the line. It doesn't necessarily just have to deal with Hollywood figures. It has to do with local figures, people that are in the hood or, cartels or, you name it, Asian brothels and things of that nature. I mean, it's basically one person or multiple groups of people having control over another group based on their situation in life. And it's really sad. Human trafficking is a multi-billion-dollar business. And it's hard to curtail because where you may stop one, get a group of people and rescue them. Well, here comes another flock. Here comes another flock. And, it's kind of like the immigration stuff, A lot of the immigration stuff has trafficking involved in it. Some of the underage women, underage kids, they're coming over here not to seek asylum, but they're coming over here to work. To work and doing whatever is needed to get the money to pay whoever it is that is supplying the freedom for them as they see. But let's move on to the next video. Don't forget, this isn't like last night where my video kind of messed up. This is earlier footage about them surrounding Diddy's LA home, Miami homes. I don't know if this video has sound or not, but if you're listening, I hope that you can hear me. Let's go to another video. I'm kind of worried now that the sound's not working. Let's go to another video. But as I was saying, it's difficult to catch traffickers because of the multitude of people that get paid from their silence,
Continue with our breaking news. Los Angeles and Miami on both coasts, federal agents swarmed the homes of one of the biggest names in rap and entertainment. As you can see, SWAT teams showed up at mansions belonging to Sean Diddy Combs. P. Diddy is what he goes by. They were raided by the Department of Homeland Security Investigations Group. Combs has faced lawsuits on a number of issues. But according to court documents, he's been accused of rape, sex trafficking, and more. He has denied all the charges. Law enforcement sources confirm the raids are connected to investigations over sex trafficking. You can see what appears to be Diddy's two sons in handcuffs in the yards. This is from Los Angeles, from one of our helicopters there. That's Justin and King Combs. NewsNation national security contributor, former Los Angeles FBI agent Tracy Walders here. First, NewsNation entertainment reporter Sam Rubin with what we know right now. Sam, a scale of 1 to 10 in Los Angeles of the surprise meter, where does this rank?
Oh, I think this is a 9+. I think it's an extraordinary surprise. This is one of the most elite neighborhoods in all of Los Angeles, the Holmby Hills area, a street called Mapleton. And as you saw from that aerial footage, this is an extraordinary mansion. I'm not a real estate expert, but this is a $50 million home and then some. So we always knew that P. Diddy did well. I don't think people were necessarily aware that he did this well, nor were aware to the extent of the trouble that he must clearly be in. You're seeing this extraordinary estate where neighbors are now telling the media, yes, this was the site of parties, likely debauched affairs. And that's what this all stems from. One lawsuit, there are 5 against P. Diddy as we're speaking right now. Again, he has denied these accusations. But one from a woman who recorded under the name of Cassie, Cassandra Ventura, was extraordinarily detailed and damning in her accusations of a 10-year relationship where she described effectively being terrorized in a variety of ways. And that may just be the tip of the debauched behavior iceberg. It seems pretty extraordinary to me that HSI would come in effect with military equipment and to simultaneously raid this extraordinary estate here in Los Angeles and another one in Miami that they apparently approached with both boats and vehicles. I mean, it looks like a scene out of a movie, except P. Diddy cast very probably reluctantly as the bad guy in what certainly, at the very least, is extraordinarily damaging to his reputation.
Yeah, that would probably be the understatement. Sam, thank you very much. Tracy Walder with us now. Tracy, I think what struck everybody was the fact that the agents who were raiding these homes were wearing the HSI tags on the back of their bulletproof vests, that the SWAT team was there. How high up does it have to go? How far along in the investigation does it have to be to send SWAT teams to the home of a major celebrity on both coasts?
The short answer to that, Leland, is pretty high, although I'm not surprised that it was HSI who was there. Their prominent role is really to investigate transnational issues, particularly sex crimes and sex trafficking crimes. So it's not surprising at all that this raid was conducted by them. And it's not surprising at all also that this was simultaneous. Typically, if you have someone that has multiple residences, we even did this at the FBI, you have different teams stationed at different properties to go after them and raid them at the exact same time. So that way evidence can be preserved. So I really think by this point, and again, he is innocent until proven guilty, but there is a mountain probably of evidence against him.
Yeah, this is the end rather than the beginning of the investigation, I guess, as things would go. Sean Diddy, Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, net worth over $1 billion, Bad Boy Records, 500 million records sold, 38 platinum records as well. I guess, there's that old line, things you never get caught on your first time, drunk driving, cheating on your wife, and the like. The one person we haven't heard about or where he is P. Diddy himself. So how do they time these kinds of raids? Is it they want whoever the target is not to be at any of the homes, and they have surveillance on him? What's that play look like?
So that's a really good question, actually, Leland. My guess is they may actually have him in custody, and we just may not see pictures of that because that was done quietly. Or he could be out of the country. It's hard to know. I don't know the various properties that he has, as you mentioned. He's worth $1 billion, so he may not physically be here. However, I think that they decided to conduct the raid, whether they got him or not, because I think there were probably lives at risk and trafficking that was going on, and it needed to stop because people were in imminent danger. Wow. That's why I think it doesn't necessarily matter. It will matter, obviously, in the end that he's caught, but I don't know that it matters right now, and I think that's probably why they decided to do it, sadly.
Thanks for watching. Go to join.
Okay, she said that she believes that the raid was imminent because there could have been lives in danger. There was trafficking going on. That is some big time stuff. Before I pull up this next video, this is going to be the surviving Diddy. It's going to be about 15 minutes long. There's multitudes of these on YouTube if you want to check them out. I'm going to give credit to Hannibal is Hungry. This is his channel, so I'm gonna borrow the Surviving Diddy, the Rise and Fall of Sean P. Diddy Combs. I haven't watched this, so if it's kind of graphic or anything like that, please don't hold it against me. Please don't come after me. I'm just trying to pass on the information. and give you a little bit of concept of how long this has actually been going on and the things that have been said about this man. So let's go ahead and begin this. Once again, I want to give credit to Hannibal is Hungry. Thank you for this footage.
There has been negative propaganda put out about me that's not true, and has really tried to stain my legacy.
How do we have more breaking news? Music mogul Sean Diddy Combs is accused of rape. A lawsuit by R&B singer Cassie claims that she was in a years-long relationship with Combs that also involved beatings.
Sean Diddy Combs has been hit with another lawsuit just as he settles his first. Now, the time Joy Dickerson Neal claims that she was a victim of revenge porn, in addition to allegedly being drugged and sexually assaulted by the musician back in 1991.
Well, looking at this lawsuit, Cassie, she claims that her and Diddy had freak-off sessions.
You talking about the freak-off session where they used to do in the studio and all of that over different entertainers' houses and stuff? When we go to the club, we used to have these bottles, right? And on this bottle, they be regular Moet bottles. On them bottles right there, they've been to have something to make the girls be real slippery and all of this kind of stuff. So when you get up, they be like, don't touch them bottles right there and only drink them bottles right there. So we already knew what the drill was.
Thing you could imagine why somebody would want to fire somebody.
Can you give us a little?
I wasn't willing to do what was expected of me. Not talent-wise, but in other areas.
Yes, this is P. Diddy with his pants down. And yes, this is a real photo. This is not AI. Apparently he was performing in front of a bunch of guys, but this is actually a real photo. This is the man that might lose everything. Today we're going to dive deep into this question. Has his past finally caught up with him? I always thought he played this Joker character way too well. Harvey Weinstein, Bill Cosby, R. Kelly. Will P. Diddy will join these men that we call predators. Predators that were caught and lost everything. In this channel, we talk about scammers. But scammers are predators as well. People who take advantage of others. And that's why I want to talk about Sean P. Diddy Combs. Let's rewind it back to the 90s. Shout out to those who were raised in the 90s like I was. This is a time where Diddy reigned supreme in the music industry. If you, like me, cherish those days, you can recall the impact Puff Daddy had on the entertainment landscape. He wasn't just making music, he was crafting history with Bad Boy Records. Bad Boy Records had the most talented roster in the game, but there was a lot of problems. Behind the glitz and glamour, there were problems with Diddy. We did hear a lot of rumors about how Diddy treat his artists. Mark Curry, once a star under Diddy's label, echoes a sentiment we've heard too often: exploitation in the music industry. Did Diddy take advantage of his artists? Many people believe so.
You're not paying me and you're not respecting me. And that's the real problem. That's just the beginning. Right, then there's people that try to do bodily harm with me. They will be in the house with Puff. So I'm like, it's a funny game y'all playing behind the scenes. So when people see me, they just see me turned up. They just see me agitated. They just see me aggressive, but they don't know why.
I just want to throw you the facts, okay?
Sure.
So this is long after we have 2 double platinum albums, $14, $15 an album from 2 million albums is, what is the math on that? 48 million? So $48 million somebody made on me.
Yeah.
I did not make anything. When I said I did Christina Aguilera for free, I didn't do Christina Aguilera for free, but the record label recouped it all. We were in debt at the end of that tour.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
But for people that worked for 6 years of their life and entered an industry where somebody made, what, $48 million? And we didn't even see a penny of that. And we were in thongs and 5-inch heels for years of our lives on stage. and not any of it did we see.
Many people believe that Sean Combs took advantage of his artists. Curry's distress speaks volumes about what may have been the darker side to Bad Boy Records. Mace had a problem with Diddy as well. Mace has previously claimed that Diddy owned his publishing and refused to return it, even after Mace offered $2 million to buy it back. This conflict has been a point of contention for years, with both parties publicly exchanging criticisms. But at least recently, it appears that they reached a contractual agreement, with Diddy returning the publishing rights. And also, if you guys have been checking out the news in the last couple of months, P. Diddy came out with an album. I know no one probably even listened to it, but he was trying to get some positive publicity from the release of the album by giving back publishing rights to all of the Bad Boy artists. He sacrificed millions of dollars to give back the publishing rights. At the same time, Mark Curry expressed skepticism about the value of the publishing rights that were returned. He claimed that they were worth very little at this point.
I don't want the publishing, I want the money. Come on, y'all think he doing a good thing because he give back some publishing? Come on, man. It's not worth anything. What's it worth? What was it worth 10 years ago, 20 years ago, and what's it worth now? And he got all of the worth out. It's like a spider went in and sucked all of the insides out of it and then give it back. That's disrespectful. I told her, why don't you just keep it and pay me? I don't want the publishing, I want the money.
Don't sign this. This is just a way to get you to never be able to publicly speak about what we have experienced. In this email, it does say, the money that you're getting is not coming through Puffy or Combs Music. This is a deal with Sony Music. I would get any money that the songs I wrote on that were streamed make, which is a couple $100s. This is not the money that we made when we released the albums. This is not the $48 million that 2 platinum albums got somebody. This is just some measly streaming money in order to stay hushed on Puff.
And he compared Combs' gesture to giving someone back their girlfriend after having 10 kids with her. Basically, what he's saying is P. Diddy used the publishing rights for decades, and now it's not as valuable as it used to be back in the 90s and 2000s, where everyone wanted to listen to all of the hits from Bad Boy Publishing. The publishing rights don't have the same value that they once had. But also, let's not forget, Diddy is a powerhouse. His empire stretched beyond music into fashion, with Sean John, with ventures in TV and acting. He shaped an era. His influence was undeniable. His achievements was astounding. There were some things about Diddy that was just leaking under the surface that a lot of people were talking about. There's a lot of rumors about him being a weirdo. Plain and simple, that he was a little bit of a weird person. Sex parties, drugs, violence, all have been talked about over the last 30 years. A lot of rumors about what he did and didn't do. Now we're seeing some real problems coming up based on Diddy's past.
That was working for him.
It depends on who it was. If you were a type of person that come a dime a dozen, you got treated like shit. If you was the type of person that he needed you, he treated you like shit. If you was the type of person that he wanted you, he'll get you, and then he'll treat you like shit. They learn the tricks of the trade. Guys don't put those pills that they get to the girls in the champagne bottles because they popping them in front of them. Most of those girls, especially if they like mixed drinks, you understand, they see the bottles when they open them. And they trying to keep their eyes on because they don't want to get no kind of drugs put in their system. But what they don't understand is in the orange juice and it's in the cranberry juice. They didn't put the pills and the stuff in there, the roofies, the ecstasy, the ease, all whatever.
That's why I don't be going to them puffy parties. They can hug you from the front and the back at the same time. What you talking about? Look, if you into that, I'm fine with it. To get you some. I'm just saying this shit, my motherfucking counterpart.
Yeah, I love this drink.
Where you put my bag
I like
at?
when you like this, Daddy.
Yeah, where you put my bag
Daddy,
at?
I like when you scrambling and scraping.
When you scrambling and
scraping for shit.
No. Okay, yeah, I'm not gonna go over with that one.
Make a
That
wish.
one.
Just blow it out. It's your birthday every day.
Every day's your birthday on Drink Champs.
Did you miss me though? For real, because I'm saying it seems like a thing.
I
With
miss
this
partying
birthday
with
party,
Puff, man.
Man, but I'm talking about for your birthday. Huh?
Why won't you party with me for your birthday, man?
Yeah, we partied for my birthday before. You came to my party.
No, but me and you ain't never really party. You know what I'm saying? Eyes, brother.
Oh,
Eyes. I understand. You know what I'm saying?
So right now, Diddy's empire is facing quite a storm. Just a couple weeks ago, Cassie Ventura's lawsuit dropped like a nuclear bomb. Allegations of abuse, trafficking, sexual assault. Cassie, an R&B singer who was previously in a relationship with Diddy, accused him of decade-long pattern of abuse that began when she was just 19 years old. The allegations are extremely graphic. I'm not going to go into some of the details. You guys can check it out if you want, but they include claims of physical assaults, forced drug use, sexual abuse, and coercion into sexual acts with other people while being recorded. She was able to bring this lawsuit using the Adult Survivors Act. So let's take a moment to understand what this crucial piece of legislation that was central to the story. The Adult Survivors Act creates a temporary window suspending the typical time limitations for filing civil lawsuits in cases of sexual assault. What does that mean? It means that for survivors of abuse who were 18 and older at the time of the assault can now seek justice, even if the statute of limitations has expired. This act acknowledges a profound situation. The impact of abuse doesn't just adhere to a timeline. It opens doors that many thought were closed forever, allowing survivors to bring forth lawsuits against their abusers no matter how much time has passed. In Diddy's case, this act becomes particularly significant. It's the legal ground upon which allegations long buried under the weight of time have resurfaced, challenging the legacy of a man who once seemed untouchable. I'm sure you guys already know what Diddy's response is of the Cassie lawsuit. It was extremely fast and swift. The man settled the next day. Now, obviously, in our justice system, just because someone
That is something right there. He settled the next day. Now, if you weren't guilty, would you settle the next day? Would you like, here's a check. Shut up now. Leave me alone. Keep my name out your mouth. I mean, if you don't know about that case, I suggest that you go and research it. If you're interested in how the downfall started, that's how it started with Cassie talking about how she was treated. And people say, well, this is 20, 30 years ago. What doesn't matter? A lot of these predators have been doing this for so long. They need to be exposed. They need to have their silence broken. They need to be exposed because there are so many people being hurt by trafficking and predators every day. That people get snatched up and thrown into the adult industry by these individuals to get money from them. That's it. That's the whole purpose, is to gain money. And like I said earlier, it's sad that, Diddy has tarnished his name like this, his legacy, because I really like Bad Boy. When the feud between West Coast and East Coast, Tupac, Biggie, that was some good time. That was some good music, but man, at the expense of listening to all this stuff, it's just terrible how things go down. And I'll probably be doing another live tomorrow night and discussing the Nickelodeon stuff. I know I'm late on this stuff, but it needs to be brought out, and people need to keep it on their mind and keep it fresh, because you don't want to be having your child groomed, or you don't want some teacher grooming your child, or somebody grooming your wife or your girlfriend or excuse me excuse me because it's a very awful situation.
someone settles does not mean they're guilty. But the fact that he did it so quickly, does this silence speak louder than words? Now, I've seen this from Harvey Weinstein. I've seen this effect with R. Kelly and Bill Cosby. Once one person comes forward, the floodgates open. And yes, now the floodgates has opened. Joy Dickerson-Neal and a Jane Doe, voices of the chorus of accusations against Diddy. Now he is facing multiple lawsuits. The Jane Doe was 17 years old. This is a pattern that is hard to ignore. echoing the downfall of giants like Weinstein, Cosby, and R. Kelly. The question looms, is Diddy another powerful figure exploiting his status to take advantage of people? With these accusations going through Diddy's world, everything is at stake. His near billionaire status, his diverse ventures in technology, real estate, and entertainment is now all in a cloud of doubt. Revolt TV, the brainchild of his ambition, now sees his founder stepping back. P. Diddy had to step down. Even though he was not involved with any of the day-to-day operations, he had to take a step back from Revolt. Is this the beginning of the end of Diddy's empire? Now, as the drama unfolds further, 50 Cent seizing the moment, announcing a documentary on Diddy's downfall. It's going to be a narrative of power, abuse, and complexities in the entertainment world. This saga isn't just about Diddy, it's a mirror to the darker aspects of fame and success. During the first lawsuit with Cassie, Diddy basically let his lawyer do the talking, but now there's multiple lawsuits. He finally broke his silence. Well, with an IG post. Enough is enough. For the past couple of weeks, I have sat silently and watched people try to assassinate my character, destroy my reputation and my legacy. Sickening allegations have been made against me by individuals looking for a quick payday. But wait a minute. Cassie did the same thing and you paid her the next day. Okay, whatever. Let me be absolutely clear. I did not do any of the awful things being alleged, and I will fight for my name, my family, and for the truth. You didn't fight for the truth when Cassie was on your ass. Now, all of a sudden, you're fighting for your truth. Are you saying that what Cassie alleged was true? You did pay her in like one day. So where does this leave Diddy? His legacy, once untouchable, now hangs in the balance. The court of public opinion is in session, and the verdict is yet to come. But I think a lot of us have our own ideas of what we think happened. Will Diddy's story be one of a fallen titan or a redeemed figure? We'll see. As we stand at the precipice of what can be a monumental shift in the narrative for Sean P. Diddy Combs, we are compelled to consider the gravity of what lies ahead. If these accusations against Diddy prove to be true, and if more voices emerge from the shadows, we may witness not just a fall of an icon, but another seismic revelation in the music industry. We've seen this with Hollywood. We've seen this in the acting industry with Harvey Weinstein. Such a scenario isn't just about the downfall of one man, but this is a call for accountability, a reminder that even the most towering figures are not above reproach. Diddy's future now hangs in a delicate balance, a balance that can tip based on information that may emerge. Obviously, his story is far from over, but it stands as a potent testament to the power of truth in an industry often clouded by glamour and bravado. In the end, the legacy of Diddy and perhaps the industry at large will be defined not by the heights of their fame, but the depths of their integrity. So many clips of rappers, celebrities talking about Diddy, talking about his parties, talking about some of the weird things he has done in the past. And the problem is with all these rumors are some could be true, some could be just lies. P. Diddy has made a lot of enemies in his life, a lot of enemies in the industry. Who knows what is true and what isn't? The problem is with any kind of predator, scammer, someone who's out to do the wrong thing, there's patterns of behavior. If 20 people, 30 people, 50 people are saying the same thing about a person, it comes to light that perhaps there is something here that needs to be investigated. Of course, some people may be lying or exaggerating what happened, but if more and more people say the same thing, this is how some of the most powerful men face a downfall. This is what happened with Harvey Weinstein. This happened with Bill Cosby. This happened with R. Kelly. When more and more people are saying the same thing and can obviously be corroborated and be proven to be true, this is how these powerful titans fall.
Okay. So to hear these things against P. Diddy is tragic, to say the least. Kim, thank you for being in the chat tonight. I know that there's not a lot of people because we're not really talking about Idaho tonight. We're not talking about that type of true crime. We're talking about the downfall of individuals with power, individuals with money, and the allegation to get thrown their way. Well, this is kind of different than you're allegating something and you throw money to get it to go away. And they just keep coming. The allegations keep coming. One thing that this brings to mind, I don't know if y'all listen to sports or y'all pay attention to sports, but there's a name and the name is Deshaun Watson. What happened was there was a masseuse that brought allegations against him that he wanted sexual favors. And then came another one, and then came another one, and then came another one. I think there ended being 21, 22 allegations, and most of them settled out of court. But the question that I ask you is, just because they settled out of court, does that mean that he didn't do it? Just because you throw money at somebody, does that mean that the individual that is paying this money didn't do what he's being accused of? He just happened to settle out of court to get this to go away. Will it come back to haunt him? Will he go back to his old patterns in time? Only time will tell. And that's what usually happens is there's an era where these type of things get brought to the surface and then they kind of go away. And then people start talking about them again. And then people come back to their old ways, like with P. Diddy, R. Kelly, Bill Cosby. Now I've even heard that Steve Harvey has some allegations against him. I'm going to do some research on that to maybe report on that in the next coming days. So it's really tragic. It's really tragic that individuals let power, prestige, and money um, get the best of them. So I want you to think about some of the things that I've talked about tonight because it does go along with true crime. I mean, it goes along with people's perception of the law and how to get around it. How to throw money at it, deflect it, or even put innocent people in harm's way. You know what I mean? And it's terrible. It's terrible. It is terrible how morality has gone to crap. What do y'all think? What do you think? Kim, what do you think about morality? You think our morals, values, and beliefs have been compromised by the achievement of money and success? Do you think that in time, the more we get, the more we take? You know? So it's just a little something to think about. It's just a little something to think about because this doesn't always just pertain to the big time people. That's usually the only time we hear about it. But how many doctors and lawyers, principals, coaches, pastors have been affected by these temptations? How many of them? You have to ask yourself, what happens when you get tempted with the untouchable, the unattainable? And that's basically what it is, you have everything in the world at your fingertips. You have everything at your fingertips, and all of a sudden, money's not enough. Success isn't enough. Prestige isn't enough. And you keep pushing the envelope across the table. It's like a drug. It's like a drug. Well, I wanted to start this off tonight. Hopefully, it'll be a series, as the case progresses. I will try to do a live tomorrow night or maybe Wednesday when I got a little more information, and we'll dig deeper into the Diddy surviving Diddy series there, and I'll also bring up some other cases that have involved this type of scenarios. Thank you so much for being here. Um, if you like what I do, please subscribe and hit the like button and comment if you like. I know this is different than what I usually do, but I've been wanting to do this type of series. It just kind of it just fell in my lap tonight. So cue the music, maestro.